Hey G-fans, it's time to revisit my How Big series for the Godzilla universe, and today I want to take a look at Godzilla, or to be more on point, I should say Zilla, or Godzilla 98. The underdog of the franchise has gone from the role of the American outcast to the eventual acceptance of Toho Studios and much of the fan base. Seeing as how we only saw the monster alongside other kaiju briefly, and I mean very briefly, in Godzilla Final Wars, I thought it'd be a fun exercise to do some comparisons to really get an idea of just how big Godzilla 98 really is. Now, Godzilla from the 1998 film and Zilla from Final Wars are from two different eras and film universes, so they aren't the same size or the same creature, but I'll do my best to show the sizes of each one respectively. So like I said, we have two different monsters here to take into account, so let's begin by comparing the two of them against each other. Godzilla 98, or Tristar Godzilla, was much taller than I thought through all of those viewings of that film, standing at 54 meters or 180 feet tall. The book also notes that the creature is 90 meters or 300 feet long with a weight of 454 metric tons. Now, Zilla from Final Wars is a much bigger version of the monster, this time standing at 90 meters or 295 feet high. That's almost twice the height of 98. Toho didn't give any other measurements on Zilla, but if we compare the heights here, we can make an estimate to say that Zilla would be approximately 160 to 170 meters or 525 to 558 feet long, and would weigh in at around 907 metric tons. So let's take a look at some other kaiju and landmarks for some real size comparisons in order to try to get a feel of just how big each of these monsters would be if you saw them in real life. We'll begin with that old measuring stick standby, the original King Kong. The first Kong was pretty small, standing at only 15.24 meters or 50 feet. Big when compared to humans, yet tiny even next to Godzilla 98 at about a quarter of his height. Next up, let's move to the AT-AT or AT-AT Walker from the Star Wars universe. These things stood at 20 meters or 66 feet tall, a pretty big mech, yet one that would be just over a third of the height of the smaller 98G. So how about a bigger Kong like the Monsterverse version? We know he's going to be much larger for his match with Legendary's Godzilla, but the last time we saw him on Skull Island, he stood at 31.6 meters or just under 105 feet tall, a bigger monkey, yet it would still just be over half the size of Godzilla 98. So let's go outside of the Godzilla world for a second and throw in the Dragon Zord from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. An awesome design, but still lacking in comparison at only 38 meters or 124 feet, although we're finally getting a bit closer to the height of 98G. Let's check out some four-legged kaiju to see if anything out there is in the same size group. My first guess off the top of my head was Anguirus, and it was a perfect comparison. The Showa era version could stand at 60 meters fully upright according to given information, but upon watching Godzilla Raids again, Anguirus looks a bit shorter than the 50-meter Godzilla, yet it should be noted that he doesn't look like he can stand in the film, which could cause him to look a bit smaller. Either way, a 60-meter or 197-foot tall Anguirus with a 100-meter or 328-foot length is only slightly bigger than the Tristar G, but it does weigh considerably more. We can also bring in the Millennium Anguirus from Final Wars, who is a great match for the larger Zilla. Standing at 90 meters or 295 feet when upright, and 160 meters or 525 feet long, and like before, this Anguirus would weigh many times more. Another kaiju that surprised me once seen next to these two is Godzilla Jr. from Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. The partially grown-up son of the Big G was just under half the size of his dad, standing at 40 meters or 131 feet high, yet smaller than both of the wannabe Godzillas. Another kaiju in the same size realm would be Kamacuras, also standing at 40 meters high. An even bigger surprise while doing the research for this video was that these two Zillas could actually size up with some of the Godzillas from the Toho universe. The original Godzilla of the Showa era was 50 meters high, and Godzilla 2000 was only a bit taller at 55 meters, placing them both around the same size as Tristar's G. Looking for something bigger than the 98G, but still not quite up to par with Zilla, we have GMK's Godzilla, the Showa era's Hedorah, and even the Attack on Titan's Colossal Titan, each one standing at 60 meters or 197 feet, along with the Showa era's Gigan, who was a bit taller at 65 meters or 213 feet tall, but still not high enough for a size matchup. So who stands around the same height as the bigger Zilla? Well, Gypsy Avenger, the Jaeger from Pacific Rim's sequel, is close at 81 meters or 268 feet. But to get eye to eye, we need something larger, and this is where things get crazy. Zilla, who isn't that powerful or durable, is much bigger than many fans expected. At 90 meters, the closest kaiju are a bunch of 100-meter threats, like the Final Wars and later Heisei versions of Godzilla, and get this, Zilla is only 10 meters shorter than the Showa era's King Ghidorah, a fight I'm sure he would want nothing to do with. Before we get out of here, let's put some famous landmarks next to this pair to gain some more perspective. The Leaning Tower of Pisa stands at 56.4 meters or 185 feet tall, only about 5 feet taller than the 98 Tristar G. For something in Zilla's range, how about the Statue of Liberty? She stands on her base at just under 93 meters or 305 feet, only 10 feet under the Big Z. And last but not least, here we have the famous Tokyo Tower, a landmark any lucky kaiju would love to visit, one that stands way above these two at 333 meters or 1,093 feet. And that is it for me today, guys, with the size comparisons for Godzilla 98 and Zilla. I hope this put each one into a bit more perspective for you guys. I know it woke me up to just how big both of them really are. I'd love to hear your feedback down below, and as always, your comments, likes, shares, and subscriptions go a long way towards helping the channel grow. Thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you next time.